If you're thinking about moving south or east, chances are you've probably narrowed it down to 3 states: Tennessee, North Carolina, and Virginia. And honestly, I get it. On paper, they all look absolutely amazing. Lower cost of living than the coast, beautiful scenery, good job markets, but here's the thing, they're not interchangeable. Hey, I'm Adam Stinespring. I'm a realtor here in Lynchburg, Virginia, and every week I talk to families wrestling with where do they go? So today, let's break down what really sets these 3 places apart, because the right answer depends entirely on what you're actually looking for. Here's what makes this decision so tricky, because all 3 states check off a lot of the same boxes on the surface. They're southern, they're more affordable than like a California or a New York. They've got mountains, they've got cities and some charm. But once you dig deeper, the differences start to matter a lot, because you're not just comparing taxes or housing prices, you're comparing lifestyles, pace of life, community, the kind of place where you build friendships and you raise kids or you retire, the kind of place that'll actually feel like home. So we're going to look at Tennessee, North Carolina, and Virginia in 6 different lenses. And by the end, hopefully you'll have a much clearer sense of what actually is going to fit you and your lifestyle. So let's start with the state that everyone is talking about right now, Tennessee. Tennessee has become the relocation darling of the last 5 years. And it's easy to see why. The no income tax is probably their biggest banner. It's the headline that everybody loves. If you're moving from a high tax state, then the savings are real and immediate. For a household making $100,000 a year, it could be $5 to $6 grand in your pocket annually, and that's nothing to wink at. Then you've got cities like Knoxville and Nashville that are just absolutely booming. Jobs in healthcare, tech, music, hospitality. There's energy, there's growth. Nashville especially has this it factor right now. In the culture, well, it is unapologetically Southern. The music, the barbecue, the friendly people. So if you want that classic Southern hospitality vibe, Tennessee definitely delivers. But here's where it gets complicated, because everyone else has figured out that exact thing. Nashville's median home price now is over $450,000, and Knoxville's is not that far behind. The affordable Tennessee that you read about a few years ago, it's not there anymore. Traffic in Nashville is legitimately bad, and the infrastructure really hasn't been able to keep up with the population boom. And in some of the smaller towns that are still affordable, they're kind of isolated. Limited job options, and there's way fewer amenities. There's also a pace of life thing happening there. So Tennessee feels like it's in a growth sprint right now. So if you thrive on that energy, that's great. But if you're looking for something that's a little more settled and a little less chaotic, then it's probably going to be too overwhelming. So Tennessee's strength is explosive growth and no income tax. It's also a challenge. It's attracting so many people that the very thing that made it the happening place and appealing is now starting to fade. Now let's talk about North Carolina. If Tennessee is the energetic newcomer, then North Carolina is the well-established favorite. It's been the relocation hotspot for decades now, and for good reason. You've got Charlotte, a major banking hub with strong job market. You have Raleigh-Durham, the research triangle packed with tech and healthcare and universities. And Asheville, if you want a artsy mountain, waterfall vibe. But here's North Carolina's secret weapon, geography. You've got the mountains to the west and the beaches to the east. You want to ski in the morning and surf in the afternoon? Technically, it's possible. You want 4 real seasons? You've got them. Mild winters, beautiful springs, warm summers. And there's a culture mix too. You've got the southern roots, but you've also got a lot of transplants, so it feels a little more cosmopolitan than Tennessee would. It's southern, but with more of a modern edge. The economy's strong and diversified. You're not overly dependent on one industry, and the quality of life rankings are consistently high. So what's the catch? Competition. North Carolina's popularity means that housing markets are tight. In Raleigh and Charlotte and Asheville, you're competing with a lot of other buyers who know this exact thing. Bidding wars, limited inventory, it can genuinely be stressful. And while North Carolina does have lower taxes than, say, California, it's not as low as Tennessee. So you've got a flat income rate of 4.5%. Property taxes vary, but they're reasonably moderate. The cost of living in the Triangle in Charlotte is higher than you might expect. It's not, New York level, but it's not really your, bargain either. And Asheville, it is beautiful, but it's also still expensive. There's also a sense now that North Carolina is starting to get a little crowded. Not in a bad way, but in like the secret's out kind of thing. The hidden gem phase is kind of over. So if you want a state that's polished, diverse, and offers a little bit of everything, North Carolina is a pretty strong contender. But you're gonna pay a premium for that quality, and you're gonna face a lot more competition getting in. But then there's Virginia. Here's what I think people miss about Virginia. It doesn't scream for attention like Tennessee or North Carolina, but it quietly delivers almost everything. Let's start with geography because it's way underrated. You have the gorgeous Blue Ridge Mountains to the west. You have the Shenandoah National Park, the beaches on the Chesapeake Bay, the rolling hills and farmland that are a part of the central part of the state. Virginia is beautiful and it's accessible. You're not driving 8 hours from the mountains to the coast. You've also got history everywhere. It doesn't matter much to me, but it does for some people. And it's got layers. So the colonial history, the Civil War, the founding fathers, it's all woven into the culture in a way that feels grounding, but not like gimmicky. Now taxes. Virginia has income tax and it's moderate and it's progressive. So it starts at 2% and then goes up to 5.75%. It's not Tennessee, but it's still pretty reasonable depending on your income. And the property taxes are generally lower than North Carolina. The job market is strong. You got Northern Virginia, it has DC proximity, so you've got the government contractors, the tech, and the federal jobs. Richmond's growing in the finance and healthcare. And then you've got smaller cities like Lynchburg, which is where I'm from, that offer solid opportunities without the big city chaos. But here's where Virginia really shines. Affordability across regions. Yes, Northern Virginia, very expensive. The beach, very expensive. But you move an hour or two away from those, and the cost of living significantly drops without sacrificing quality of life. So take Lynchburg, for example. The median home price here is between $250 to $300, depending on the area, and you're getting a lot of house for that money. It's a college town, so there's culture and there's amenities. You've got the mountains right nearby. You have Roanoke and Richmond for conveniences that aren't here, and you're only about 3.5 hours from DC. You're not isolated, but you're also not drowning in traffic. And the pace of life, it's steady. People aren't rushed, but they're also not sleepy either. There's a community here. People know their neighbors. Churches are active. Schools are solid. It feels like a place where you can actually settle. A lot of people have said they've moved to Lynchburg and it just felt like home. Virginia's not perfect. The northern part of the state is very expensive. Some of the rural areas are pretty remote. And from a political standpoint, it's more of a purple state. So depending on where you land on the spectrum, who knows what your challenges may be depending on the area. But here's the thing. Virginia gives you balance. It's not the cheapest, but it's affordable. It's not the flashiest, but it's beautiful. And it's not the fastest growing, but it's stable. And stability, especially in a world that feels chaotic, is definitely underrated. So here's the deeper question. What are you actually looking for? Because when people compare states, they think they're comparing data, taxes, housing prices, job markets, and sure, that stuff definitely matters. But what you're really comparing is identity. You're asking, well, what kind of life do I want to build? What kind of community do I want to be a part of? What pace feels right for my family? For Tennessee, it says, come be a part of something exciting and new. For North Carolina, it says, you can have it all, but just be ready to compete for it. And then Virginia says, there's room here. And you don't have to sacrifice an arm and a leg to get here. And the truth is, there is no universal right answer. It depends on your stage of life, your values, your budget, and honestly, your personality. If you thrive on energy and growth, then Tennessee is the place for you. If you want polished and you want options, North Carolina is going to be a good bet. But if you want balance and beauty and you want some more breathing room, Virginia is definitely worth taking a serious look. So where should you move? If I'm being honest, all three states have something great to offer, and you really can't go wrong. But here's what I'd say. Don't chase headlines. Don't move somewhere just because somebody else says you're supposed to or because the taxes sound nice. Visit. Spend some time with the people there. Pay attention to how you feel, not just what you think. Because the best place for you isn't the place with the lowest taxes or the, biggest hype. It's the place where you can build a life that feels like yours. And if you're looking at Virginia, especially like the central southwestern Virginia, I think you'll be surprised at how much it offers. Specifically, Lynchburg offers affordability, beauty, and a community in a way that's really hard to find. There you go, 3 incredible states: North Carolina, Tennessee, Virginia. If you're wrestling with this decision, I'd love to hear what you're learning and why. Drop a comment below. And if this was helpful, let me know what states you'd like me to compare next. Thanks for watching. I'm Adam Stinespring, and if you're coming to the Lynchburg area, I'll see you at the closing table.